Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to gather a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. And it all starts with one thing, a deep understanding of human motivation, why people do what they do, and the forces that drive them. To gain that understanding, I am mining the intersection of psychology, theology, and philosophy to make you a better writer. This is episode 83, Storing Emotional Knowledge. We've been talking about a number of interesting subjects around ideas and how they interact, how brainstorming works, why Zettelkasten is valuable, and now today and in this podcast, I want to pull that together and talk about how that relates to the book that I've just written and how it relates to being able to store the emotional knowledge of your story so that you can take your reader on an emotional journey. And you know what they say, if you make them feel something, they will remember you. So let's pull those pieces together. Remember when we were talking about ideas and just last night, how an idea fills your whole mind and it's just a delightful thing. You catch a few bits of it onto a file card so that you'll be able to store it away in your Zettelkasten. And then when another idea comes along, and it is now the idea that's full and alive in your mind, and it touches, because it relates to that other idea that you filed, that other idea now wakes up too, and you've got two fully developed ideas going with you. Each of them was already enough to fill your whole brain. So you end up with two brains full of knowledge, and it's as though you doubled your brain power. Terribly exciting. Well, we're going to use that technique and that approach very, very deliberately. We're going to work on, now if you were in my 35 lesson class, we did this very consciously and deliberately, one character trait a week, because we were very busy taking a given word, we isolated it to one word, and then we trained the subconscious mind to recognize that when you that word means this constellation of emotions, this whole idea, this whole three-dimensional full brain idea fits that one word. So what we could do was we could call up that word and the idea comes to life. So what that means for us is that when we sit down to write, we can take, if we can characterize what's going on in our story in terms of one of those emotional key words, we can bring our story back to life in the same way that two cards in a Zettelkasten, when they are consumed next to one another, both blossom into full-blown ideas. So you'll have your full-blown idea about the character trait and your full-blown idea about your character in your mind at the same time. It's a pretty darn powerful concept once you get used to it. Now here's a little bit of a challenge. I taught those 28 character traits across 35 weeks. And so that we had ample time to visit all of them and to condition each one of them so that we had a vocabulary of 28 traits. Well, there's no way to shortcut that any more than there is any way to shortcut how you train a service animal. It takes repetition, it takes visiting with it, it takes doing homework assignments. But with this book, my new book, you have all the tools in your hands, you have the whole library. So what that means is that you can dive down into the character traits, pick the ones that are important, and then drill just those individual character traits that you know you need. You don't need to first commit all 28 and have them all alive and active. You can begin with just the ones you need at the moment. And you can use the others, use the text of the book as a reference document and look up others that might add richness. So that gives you a mechanism for being able to take full advantage as though you'd taken the 35-week course just by using the book as a reference book. And then we're going to take those emotional cues, those emotional keywords that we work up, and we're going to store them on a file card and store them into a note box so that you can retrieve a block of emotions and be able to trace those emotions and re-experience them on a moment's notice. And that is a large part of what's going to be accomplished in this book. And if you follow along, if you do the extended exercises, if you play with it yourself, you'll find out that it actually works, and you'll be quite amazed. So the next question you might want to know is, when, where, how can I get the book? Well, it's looking like the answer is Monday, April 22nd, 2024. And if you are on my early bird list, KathleenSpracklin.com/earlybird, you will have an email bright and early in your inbox with a pointer to where you can get the 70-page book at cost. I want my students to have this, and I don't want price to be a barrier. The pages are color, the print quality is outstanding, and it's not super cheap to print. So I'm not taking any profit on it. I'm just bringing it to you exactly at what it costs to print it and ship it. And after you, my students, after you, the people that have been supporting me all the way through, after you have your copies, okay, then I can think about raising the price and putting some profit in it. But right now, I just want to get it in your hands. My 35 lesson class was put out for free, and I want to do the same with the book. So sign up for my early bird list and wake up early Sunday morning. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.